Hi, Shannon here, back from houseimprovements.com, and today I'm just going to show you how to install a kitchen countertop over in this area, and we're also going to do a eating bar top just across the room. But we're going to start out over here. I just wanted to talk a little bit about preparation of the cabinetry before you have the top in the way. So we've got about a 16 or 18 inch wide cabinet here, a 24 inch here. We've got a space for a dishwasher here and a 9 or 10 inch cabinet here. Okay, so basic short little countertop area. You can see I've attached a cleat on the wall across the dishwasher area to support the back edge of the counter. So that's screwed to the wall and into the studs. Under the cabinets that have either a cleat or a full top on them, you'll be able to attach to the countertop from screws through the bottom. This cabinet here, which there'll be a sink in, there isn't a surface here to screw through, so I've added a couple of metal L brackets ahead of time to the cabinet so that once the top's on there I can get up inside and insert a screw. So those are on there. We kind of got the plumbing just prepped so we could get it as far as we could before we had the counter in the way as well, so we did that. And obviously the cabinets are all installed level and straight the way we wanted to start out. So one thing you're going to find, we pre-ordered our countertop for some of this. So usually what I find when I order it from somewhere is I've got a bevel edge on the front, and I'll show you what that means. So the edge piece is protruding just a little bit longer anywhere where it hits a wall. So here and over here on ours, it was protruding. Now I say was because I've already trimmed ours. So I got a little carried away the other day, forgot we were going to do a video about this. So, but I will explain that over here a little bit more closely. And what those tabs or what those extensions do is it just allows you a little bit of play to fit your countertop to the wall and to the cabinetry. So if your corner's a bit out of square or you've got a bulge in the corner over here or whatever, you can kind of play with those tabs and usually get enough adjustment without actually having to cut the whole counter in width. So what you're looking for is you want to have an equal overhang here on the front and some type of overhang here on the end, depending on whatever your situation is. And then in our case, we don't have to be super tight to these two walls because there will be a tile backsplash going on there, so the tile's going to protrude, probably 3/8 of an inch or something by the time it's all on there. So we're not too worried about being super tight there. You may have a laminate backsplash, or your countertop might have backsplash attached. So depending again on your situation, it just depends what you do. So I think that's the main prep you have to do on this situation here. So we're just going to reset the camera. Go over, I'm going to show you what the bevel edge is exactly, and also show you the adjustment that the manufacturer left on there and how to deal with it. Okay, so I've just brought you over here where we've got the counters kind of sitting so I can explain this bevel edge a little bit. So if you look up here, you can see the actual profile. So this piece right from this corner all the way around to here is a separate piece that they add on, and it's called a laminate bevel edge. So obviously here's the bevel reference, and it's all done in laminate. This could be wood, or any of this could be wood for that matter, but this in particular one is a laminate bevel edge. Okay, so that's what I was referring to. Now if you look over here on these two tops, this top on the very top of the pile is our counter that we're going to install today. And you can see this is almost cut right flush right here, and this is the edge that's back against the wall. Now if you look over here on this other top, you can see how the laminate bevel edge is actually a little bit longer than the back of the counter, which is right here, and then they've also put this block on here just protected in shipping. So this little bit here, which is probably about 1/4 of an inch, is what a lot of these manufacturers leave to give you a little bit of play. So by cutting this off to whatever length you need, it can adjust your countertop away from the wall or whatever in order to be straight, so that you get a nice, because this is the piece that's going to butt against the wall, right? So this will be a nice tight fit. If you have a little space up here, not a big deal in most cases, because usually you're going to have some kind of backsplash that'll cover some of that, or even silicone. So So they give you that in order to give you a little bit of adjustment. Now if your walls are really out of whack, you may have to actually even cut into some of this here. You know, maybe your walls are really wavy or your corners built out quite a bit with mud. You may have to actually even cut this back area, in this case that was against the wall, to make it fit properly. So in my case, like I said, I got a bit carried away the other day and I started to fit this top and then realized we were going to do a video about it. So I've already fit these. My wall and corner and everything worked out really square. So I've got this pretty much cut right flush here, and the same with that other corner at the far end. Now to cut that, what I generally would use is I'll cut it real close with a jigsaw, with a down cutting blade for cutting laminate. What it actually does is the blade cuts on the downstroke instead of the upstroke, so that when you've got the jigsaw here and the blade's going in, you've got the wood behind it to give it a backing so it isn't going to chip. Where if they cut on the upstroke, sometimes you get chips along here. So I like to use a downstroke blade in the jigsaw, cut it close and you know, square and straight and everything. If it isn't right, then I use a belt sander from there just to fine tune it a little bit. So anyways, I'm going to take this top right over and stick it onto those set of cabinets, and really just show you what I'm lining up with and getting straight, and then we'll screw it down, and that's all there is to that one. So I'm just carefully bringing it over here, and I'm just going to roll it up on its back edge as well here for a second, so you can see the basic construction from the bottom side. And I think you can probably see this. They've got basically about a 4-inch cleat. This is the front edge, about a 3 or 4 inch cleat all the way across. Down the edges, they've got a little bit narrower one at the back. But that's the main construction. And those are the areas that we're going to be trying to get our screws into. So we're going to be screwing up through the cabinetry, like through this 5/8 piece here and into this. It's important to make sure you don't have too long of a screw, because if you come up through all that and the point of the screw bulges or actually pokes through the laminate, you're not going to be very happy. So our countertop itself is, this one's about, what is it, 1 3/8 I think, or 7/16 or something total thickness, and we've got the 5/8 here. So I'm basically using an 1.5 inch screw, and we've got lots of leeway that way. But anyways, I just wanted to kind of show you what's going on here. This, you know, just to save some costs and weight and everything, it isn't always solid right through. It'll just be the outer edge that's built up the thickness that you want. So okay, so that's that part. I'm just going to roll it down here, slide it back a little bit. So one of the things we're looking to do when we're fitting it, if I hadn't already fit it to the wall, is I just want to slide it back, you know, right back against that wall, right over into this corner till it makes contact. Hooked on, there we go, like so. And then what I would do is take my measuring tape, and one thing I want to do is just see what my overhang is. How consistent is it, you know, at each end, and then determine from that, you know, if I've got a 1/4 inch difference, then I got to figure out, okay, which way does this need to swing so I get this to be an equal overhang. So like I said before, by trimming that corner and this corner, in this case, you can do some adjustment there. Sometimes you may have to trim right back along the back edges or this end as well, where it fits up against the walls if there's a bulge or something like that. Okay, so we're just looking for equal overhang. In most cases it's going to be about 1.5 inches, but it just depends on what you like to see. But so I've got that right now. I also wanted the overhang here just slightly. The fridge is going to sit here, so I just want to overhang the counter a little bit. So I'm looking for an equal overhang here. I've got about 1/2 inch. So there's no real magic number there. It's whatever works so that your refrigerator fits in there properly. And I'm looking that I don't have too big of a gap anywhere back here that can't be hidden with the whatever type of backsplash I'm using. Okay, so like I said, this one I had already basically fit, so I'm happy with where it's sitting. I've got a nice The places I'm going to see, the joints I'm going to see are actually right here, and I'm really not even going to see that one once the refrigerator's in. So this is the more important one up here. It looks good, and I've got the equal overhang. So I'm at the point now where I can actually fasten it down. So I'm going to start out by taking my screws, and remember, you've got about a 4-inch board. Just measure yours to be sure, but about a 4-inch double layer underneath there, and I'm losing, in my case, about 1.5 inches of overhang here. So I can't get too wild back here on getting my screw way back from the front edge, but you know, I've got a little bit of room to play. And again, just because I grabbed these screws out of a certain size container that I have or whatever for length, I usually you just kind of hold it up there and get an idea and reconfirm in my mind that you know, if I'm down the 5/8 of an inch, it's not going to come through the top. In fact, I probably don't even need to be quite this long, but these ones will be good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to apply pressure down on the countertop to get it tight underneath here, and I'm going to start a screw, and I'm going to be back about 1 inch, something like that. Oops. So I'm just applying that pressure down and up with the screw. And just bring it down nice and tight. And basically what I'm going to want to do is I like to put one screw in each, kind of near the corners of each cabinet as I go along here, as well on the back side, so that everything gets screwed down nice and tight. So I'll just continue along doing the same thing. I'm just trying to keep the counter down tight and get my screw in until it draws the counter tight to the counter, or to the cabinet. Now sometimes, like you can see, it usually wants to push that counter up. You can see a bit of a space there. So I screw my screw in most of the way, and then I'll just back it out so the counter drops back down, and do it again. And usually your counter will just stay down nice and tight that way. You could pre-drill these too if you wanted. I find with this drill I don't really need to. So I'm just going to reach way in the back and do the same thing. I just can't quite reach from where I am. So I got that one down. I'm going to put another one in the other back corner. Cameraman just about fell over. Okay, so I got that one in there. Now I had the couple of L brackets in the sink cabinet, and obviously the bracket itself isn't very thick, so I'm going to a shorter screw. If I used the same length screws as what I was using for everything else, I would definitely come through. So I'm just going to lay right in here. I'll do this back one first. Just suck that down nice and tight. I don't think you'll probably see this one. It's pretty near the front. Just like so. Now I just have the one cabinet left, so I'll get the screws in, and then we'll discuss any other issues you could come across. So now with this counter, there could be a couple different scenarios. Like I said, we're going to do a tile backsplash. So right now, basically, I could walk away, and this one's, as complete as I can be. If you have a detached laminate backsplash, which means it's obviously not attached to this piece, now you'd be ready to put that on. So you'd want to cut it to the appropriate length that you want. So you'd have a piece there and a piece across here. You would then take your pieces, make sure that they fit under here if you have a window or something. Then take your pieces, and what I like to do to attach them to the actual wall is I'll flop that piece down. I don't really have anything I can use to demonstrate, but I'll just flop it down so it's backside up, and I'll put a few blobs of silicone on it, and then I'll actually put a few blobs of hot glue on it. So then I can slide it over, flip it up, hold it to the wall, make sure that hot glue gets pushed in so the backsplash is tight, and the hot glue sets up pretty much within 10 seconds or so, enough that it'll hold it there. The hot glue is just to hold it until the silicone actually sets and holds, and it's good. So, and then the same thing here, lay it down on its face so the back's up, silicone hot glue flopping in place, and that's good. Then you would also want to use some silicone to seal the joint that would be between the backsplash and the counter right along here to keep water out from getting underneath there. If it's an attached backsplash, you'll be kind of dealing with that when you're fitting the countertop to the wall because it's already on the counter, so you've got to kind of do some scribing possibly on it or whatever. Push your countertop into place, screw it down, and with the attached backsplash, the only place you may want to do some caulking is along the top where it meets the wall if there's a little bit of space or whatever. Try to use a caulking that's paintable if you can, and yet mildew resistant as well, being in the kitchen. You don't see it too much anymore, but some people still will put just a sheet of matching laminate or a strip or whatever, and glue it right to the wall. So obviously you just cut it to fit. Probably use some spray glue or roll-on glue and attach it right to the wall, siliconing this joint after you're done. So just a couple of options there. We're going to do tile, and probably at some point we'll get a video done about that. So that's this top here. We will be putting a sink in here, but that's for another video as well. We're going to go back over to the eating bar over on the other side of the room here, and I'll just show you how to deal with that. Okay, so we've just moved over here to where the eating counter is. So we've got this island out in the middle of the room. The island cabinets are on the other side here up against this, this partial 2x4 wall. And the cabinets are attached to the wall, which makes everything sturdy. Anyways, up top here is going to be the eating bar where somebody can pull up some stools or whatever they want. And we're just going to show you how to install that. The eating bar itself is the same type of construction, or similar construction to the countertop we just did, although the whole thing is solid on the bottom. This one does not have just the perimeter buildup. This one is solid, 2 layers thick of 11/16 product, plus the laminate on top. So that's that one. This one also, because it doesn't butt up to any walls, it needs to be ordered to the right length. It's totally finished with the laminate bevel all the way around. The corners, if you can see here, all the corners have been clipped off or 45'd so that there's no sharp corners. It just makes a nice gradual turn right around the corner. So the kids aren't going to catch their head on it or whatever. I just step through here. I've already attached these brackets to the wall and to the framing as well, which are going to help support the countertop. It's going to overhang onto this side. This would be the side you'd be sitting on. This top, I'm just going to measure it because I can't remember. I think it's about 18 inches total. Yes, it's 18 inches wide. Now the reason for that is it's nice to have at least 12 inches of overhang on the side that you're going to be sitting at, so that when you're at a stool, your knees and feet aren't banging on the wall all the time, and you can still pull your stool in close if that's what you want. So we've got our 12 inches there, and we've got 4.5 inches for the wall. So we're up to 16.5, and then obviously we want some overhang on the back side. So that's how I came up with that width. So anyways, like I said, 12 inches is usually a pretty comfortable overhang to sit at. So we've got the brackets on here to support it. I mentioned that they're screwed through the drywall, but actually into the framing as well, so that they can take some weight. The drywall itself, you can see the top of the wall isn't finished because the counter is going to sit right on there, so you're not going to see any of this. After it's all done, I will run just a small bead of caulking, probably all the way around the perimeter. Just, there might be some little jagged edges or whatever in the drywall. So I guess to proceed, basically what I'm going to do is the countertop will be held down with these brackets. There's a couple screw holes in it. And as well, I'm going to put a few blobs of silicone on the wall so that once it sits down on there, it will be adhered very well. The first thing I'd like to do is just set the countertop on, do a rough fit for it. So if the camera guy can grab the other end, we'll just set it up on there and then I can maneuver it from there to get my overhangs and everything correct. So I'm just looking, where's my tape measure? I'm just looking to get an equal overhang end to end. And I think we're supposed to be around 2 7/8 on this particular one. So basically what I'm doing is dry fitting it, right? I just want to make sure that everything fits properly and we're happy with the way how everything's going to line up. So I'm just kind of working it around, getting everything to the point where it's pretty good. So just take me a second. Basically get it lined up. Okay, so that's about where I'd want it to sit. So I'm just having a look to make sure that my overhangs all look good. I'm happy with how it looks out, or works out, I mean. And then I'm just going to take a pencil, give myself a couple reference lines on the bottom so I don't have to do quite all that messing around again. I could just line up my reference points and basically screw it down. So now if the camera guy can just give me a hand, we'll set it off of there again. If he doesn't knock the camera over. So we'll just set that off. I'm going to put a little bit of silicone up top, like I said, and then we'll be able to set that counter back on there again. So we'll just put a few blobs of silicone, and we don't have to go too crazy. I'm just going about the size of a quarter or so. 1/4 inch high. Because our bottom's solid, I don't have to worry about getting them in a particular spot. They'll hit wood wherever they are. And we can then just take this countertop and set it on. And if you just look at the reference mark on the bottom, just so we're close when we set it into the silicone. Okay, that looks good. So we'll just let it sit. Your way. Whoops. How's that? Yeah, okay, I'm good. Okay, so we've got that sitting there. And I've got some screws here. I'm just going to change drills. I should have that ready. So again, make sure your screws aren't too long. And I'll start down here at this end. Camera guy's got to get his stuff together here this time. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to go right underneath here. I'm holding down on the countertop, trying to keep it from sliding around. And I just want to get one kind of in each end so it's not going to move around on me. Like so. So then all I simply have to do is add the other screws in. Make sure just have a look at your brackets, make sure they aren't facing off angle or something. And I just need one more. Okay, so the brackets and screws are definitely going to hold it in place. The silicone on the back is just so that if somebody's really leaning on this side, you have some stability as well on the back side. I'm just having a look to make sure it's sitting down on there. If the wall's good and flat, you shouldn't have any issues. It looks like it's good. You can see this, you get a little bit of a jagged edge there. Now some people might not worry too much about that. I usually just take some paintable latex caulking and Cock that up, and then it's not visible at all. If somebody's sitting across the room in a chair or something, they might be able to actually see that. So we've got that there. It's sitting down tight enough. If it didn't want to sit down tight, what I would do is maybe just set a few objects on here that have some weight on them, just to sit down on the wall where the silicone is, you know, so that it sits right down in there and gives it a chance to set up. But it looks like that's going to sit there nicely. So I think we've basically covered on a couple different scenarios as far as installing countertops. You can see across the room, all piled in junk, are some smaller tops over there. But basically the same idea, you just fit them to fit the wall and screw them in place, and everything should be good. So I think I'm going to wrap up then, and just want to mention that we do have our forum on the website, as well as some articles on different items. But the forum is one of our main things over there. So if you have any questions on what you've seen here on the video, or anything else that you've been working on, just pop into the forum and post something up so we can all have a look, or maybe help you out with a problem you're having. Also, you've obviously found our videos, and you know, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel and watch all of our videos when you have time. And also, if you like what you see, just click the little thumbs up symbol that's on the screen as well. So thanks for watching.